Turned down for what?
That's the intro. Turned down for what? Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Ben.
And today we are talking about a few topics. The first of which is we are going to be talking about movie theaters. They are cooking up some schemes, folks, about how to get people to see movies again. Movie theaters are going to save movie theaters.
Drop prices.
Yeah. Oh,
but never that.
That is not on the list of things they are considering to save their hides. Christian Jordan asks, are there any specific books you haven't done yet that you're excited to cover on Back Issues Together? And I wanted to ask you guys this question because I was curious, are there any books that you're aware of out in the world that either I have mentioned passively or that you've heard of that we still haven't covered?
Yeah, Batman No Man's Land.
Haha. Yeah, that's a big one. You're not the only one.
Times.
People really want to hear us talk about that.
Apparently there's so much of it.
It's too long. I mean, it's I have volumes of that. Too long for me to cover on the show. But I will one day.
I mean, it's seminal, apparently.
It is arguably the biggest Batman event in terms of weight. And when I say weight, I don't mean like metaphorical. I mean, like
no, it's just a lot of books.
It's just too much book.
So yeah, I'm excited about that.
Yeah, cool.
I think maybe one day we'll do more Saga.
You know, it's funny. We got a comment about that today. Someone was like, "It's been 7 years since we talked about it."
Well, it wasn't coming out for a while, right? Like it was big.
Yeah, there was a big hiatus. There was a couple of year hiatus, but not when we stopped doing it.
Right. There was more we could have done. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. But it's just the views.
The story started like drastically changing. Like it really took a different road at one point where it's like, oh, it's no longer about the characters that you think.
Kinda. Yeah, the show, I mean, the book was always going to be about that central group, but it will switch gears every so often just to keep things fresh. But also just the views on that last episode, I was like, duh! Okay, never mind. We'll never do that again. That was how devastatingly low they were. And I was like, this went from people clamoring for us to talk about it to don't ever show us that again. I don't want to see that again. It was just so weird. Now night and day. It could be that YouTube was like,
I think it's just the algorithm. Yeah, it's just the number of people searching for it. You know, it's still at the end of the day, it's like the name Saga and the characters are not going to be as popular as Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. You know, like people are just going to find the video who weren't looking for it just from searching those terms, but they're never going to find Saga.
Yeah, no,
by accident, right?
Right. They're only looking for it because they are looking for it, and if they are, they found it already. So good question. Thank you, Christian.
Ethan, any comments?
Yeah, you got anything?
I was trying to think. I know that there is a book that I want to do. Oh, well, I definitely want to do Human Target.
Oh yeah, that's happening. That's happening this year. I promise. Human Target this year.
Yeah, that's probably that, and I also want to do Absolute Batman.
Oh definitely. Yes,
Absolute Batman. As soon as it's a trade or whatever, you know.
Oh, it's ready. Like, there is a trade. Like the first story is now done. They had to actually expand it by an issue. Scott wasn't done. It was going to be 5 parts. Expanded it to 6. But yeah, no, we will definitely be covering
Absolute Wonder Woman too.
Absolute Wonder Woman is a big one. Ultimate Spider-Man is another one I really want to cover. That's for me. That's one I want to. Not the new one. We'll keep doing that, but you know, there's.
The new stuff. That sounds entertaining.
It's very entertaining. So yeah, speaking of entertaining, or the opposite of that, Marvel did an amazing feat of marketing / promotions where they made, I want to say it was like a 4-minute trailer for Avengers Doomsday, like a little teaser. They haven't shot anything yet, although the title card at the end promises or even threatens that they are filming Avengers Doomsday right now. But the trailer that they released was a dolly shot of the backs of directors' chairs with actors' names on them.
Right.
for 4 minutes until it finally reaches Robert Downey Jr., where he walks in, sits in his chair, looks at the viewer, and then bids them shush. We know you're Dr. Doom. We don't need to be silenced. I don't understand. So that was the trailer, and they released that later.
Yeah.
But before they did that, they did this move, and they did this move again with Fantastic Four, where the Fantastic Four trailer was going to be dropped for MCU's Fantastic Four First Steps. They were going to drop the trailer. They said, "Get ready for the launch," and the promise was 7 a.m. Eastern time. And I was like, "Oh my god, 7 a.m."
That's 4 a.m. Western time.
4 a.m. PST. So I was like, "This is amazing." Tiffany, before you go to work, we're going to get up a little early. We're going to watch the trailer. We're going to shoot our reaction to it. I'm going to have it out by like 8 a.m. We sit down, and it's like, countdown has begun. Several hours later, they released the trailer.
What a dick.
And it was the trailer you described, so
yes.
it wasn't even worth
Oh, no. That was the Avengers Doomsday. The Fantastic Four trailer did release a trailer, but it took 4 or 5 or maybe even 6 hours before they actually did. So you just sat there live on YouTube with all these people going like, "What's happening?" And so that was brilliant because the retention was off the charts. So for this, they went, well, we have a 4-minute dolly shot of all these things. Why don't we just stretch that out over 6 hours? And so they did it again. They did a live stream where they just pulled back, and occasionally, you just hold on Chris Hemsworth's name. Then like 20 minutes later, it would just move on to the next chair to release all the names of the cast for Avengers Doomsday.
So the live version of that was the dolly shot, but like slow, like super slow.
No, well, yes, it was slow, but
it would
then
freeze on people.
Yeah,
it would just sit.
Yeah,
and then they would go regular speed to move on to the next chair. Like there was some poor intern
someone just having to hit pause every few. No, I hope that they just did it in one shot and they froze the image in post. Yeah,
easily. Yeah.
Oh no, I love it. It was actually a dolly, because that would make sense if you had a dolly to do that.
Oh yeah, and they had the
you
dolly.
just use a robot.
You just stand there and then you're just like, whoop.
Mm-hmm.
You just press the button and the machine moves. I'm sure they don't
put
humans on
but
those.
I want to believe that there was.
Oh no, that's a union job, Ethan.
Well, that's probably true.
Yeah, I want to believe that there is somebody there, like, who got the 4-minute version and went, can I try something really quick? And then just threw it into Premiere and then just slowed it down by 6 hours. And then went, I want to show you guys something. Just really quick. Hang on. Imagine, if you will, that we dropped this live on our YouTube channel and this is the result. And then it just sat there and they're like, what am I looking at? And they're like, just hold on. And then 10 minutes later, it went, whoop. And they're like, we're going to do this for 6 hours. And they were like, you, sir, are a raging psychopath. Like, you are in.
Brilliant.
Don't let this town take that away from you. Like,
the
thing is, not going to be in the YouTube show, but it's definitely going to be in the YouTube show.
It killed. Like, there were thousands of people in the chat just going like, ah! And amazingly enough, they also had a system where you needed to be logged in order to chat. So you had to be there. These had to be real viewers. You had to prove you were a human to be in the chat and to participate in the
chat. Who cares about that?
Thousands of people cared about that. That's the thing. I don't care about that. But they did. And it worked.
I would have lost my mind had I been in that chat being like, this is atrocious.
Oh, yeah. No, and I'm sure there were people who were like, boo. But, yeah.
Well, especially because there wasn't a payoff. There needs to be something at the end of it that's awesome.
Yeah.
There wasn't.
Well, Robert Downey Jr. showed up and sat in a chair.
I already knew he was in the movie.
Right.
If you hadn't known, if that hadn't already been revealed, that would have been awesome.
Yeah.
I mean,
but it wasn't.
But here's the great thing about this. It doesn't matter if they're yays or boos. It's still engagement.
It's just noise. And
we're talking about it right now. We're talking about how stupid it was. There's no such thing as bad publicity.
Oh, and I didn't say, listen, it sucks, but also genius. They didn't spend a dime.
Yeah.
Okay. That's amazing.
What was you spend a dime on? There's nothing shot.
I know. That's brilliant. To build up hype.
Yeah.
For a movie that they're hoping has built-in hype.
I mean, the reveal that he was going to be Doom was big. The fact that you have all those other names in the movie is big. It's a lot of
Yeah,
news.
it's like there's a lot of people in this movie.
But
Yeah,
I already knew from the 4-minute shot.
Right, but you didn't know. Well, but we didn't release the 4 minutes. We released the
that came
6-hour one.
after the 6 hour
And then
shot.
after everyone had their live reaction to it, they were like, "Oh, and here's the 4-minute one."
Yeah.
Here's the
For
thing you can
people who
share on
won't
social
sit here
media.
for 6 minutes, or 6
Yeah.
hours. Yeah.
But here's a list of people who aren't in the movie. Like, here's some
Okay.
names that did not appear
That's a
on the
shorter
back.
list than the list of people who are in it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Spider-Man is not in Avengers Doomsday. And I was like,
Wait.
"Oh, well, you just lost all my interest in Avengers Doomsday."
Jeez,
Wait,
that
now that said,
sucks.
That's not
Spider-Man
necessarily
4,
true. They might recast.
What?
They're not going to recast. Spider-Man's in Spider-Man 4, which
They have
takes
to get
place after
Sony's
Avengers
permission to even
Doomsday.
friggin' use him. They can't recast him.
Yeah. So Spider-Man 4 is happening after Avengers Doomsday. So you don't need Spider-Man in Avengers Doomsday. You're getting a whole Spider-Man movie that might be reacting to everything that happened in Avengers Doomsday.
I guess.
I want that. But no Spider-Man, no Captain Marvel, Brie Larson's out, no Doctor Strange, no Hulk,
What?
no Scarlet Witch,
What?
no Hawkeye, no Star-Lord, no Deadpool, no Wolverine, no Nick Fury, and especially no Disney Plus people like Moon Knight, She-Hulk, Werewolf by Night, and Daredevil. None of those characters are in this movie.
Wait, who is in the movie then? Who are
Right,
all these
who
friggin'
is
names?
in the movie? Well, Shang-Chi is in the movie. Simu Liu is in the movie. The entire Fantastic Four. Namor from Black Panther 2 is in the movie.
Okay.
People from Guardians without Star-Lord.
Nope, none of them. But
None of
the
them.
entire cast of Thunderbolts is in the movie. Thor is in the movie. Winter Soldier, Sebastian Stan will be in the movie. Shuri will be in the movie, so Black
Yeah.
Panther.
Well, I assume
Loki.
Captain America's in the movie.
Yes, Anthony
Yeah.
Mackie's in the movie.
Yeah.
Loki's in the
Loki,
movie.
Yeah, I saw his name on the chair.
Again, like Pedro Pascal will be in the movie. He's Mr. Fantastic. Channing
Right.
Tatum as Gambit will be in the movie.
What?
Yeah, that's
Wait,
weird.
the one from...
The one from Deadpool and Wolverine.
I guess he gets out.
But he's dead. Or was he dead?
No, he's
I
not. They don't
remember.
die at the end of that
They
movie.
don't die. Yeah, okay.
Patrick Stewart is in the movie.
I saw that, yeah.
Alan Cumming is in the movie, who played Nightcrawler in X2, X-Men United.
Yeah, I
Is
saw this.
Magneto in the movie?
Ian McKellen's Magneto is in the movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're
Rebecca
billing
Romijn
this...
is in the movie.
For them, this is like a crossover, like X-Men.
This is X-Men versus Avengers.
Yeah.
This is going to
Yeah.
be, but not on the same planet. It'll be an incursion between the
Yeah.
X-Men universe and the Avengers universe.
Well, what
Yeah, but
about
there's,
the
like,
Fantastic
so
Four
few
universe?
X-Men
Oh
actually
yeah, and the
in
Fantastic
there.
Four too. Yeah. Well, who knows what's going to happen to them at the end of their movie?
Right.
Because they're in another reality. So
Yeah,
maybe
they might
they're
already
smashing
be in the
another
Marvel
one,
universe at that point. Yeah.
right? I don't know. But
I mean, that's like, I want to see that, but why is it called Avengers Doomsday then?
well, I assume that the Doomsday is a
Oh, the
double meaning where it's like
Yeah.
Doctor Doom is going to
It's an
be introduced in the
incursion.
MCU, but also everything's going to end.
Yeah. Okay.
It's kind of like a Kang story as well, where like the world might be ending in a particular way and they have to save their reality. Or
Yeah, they're
certain
gonna
people
try.
in their reality are going to come over.
Yeah, I assume they're
Yes.
doing because Secret Wars is after, right?
Yes,
So
Secret
I
Wars is
assume they're
next.
doing something that's like a riff on what Marvel did with Secret Wars.
with Hickman's
and
Secret Wars and the
Yeah.
incursions and New
the
Avengers.
incursions, the end of the world. You know, they destroy the old universe and then they like rebuild.
Yeah, Doom will reassemble the multiverse into one
Yeah.
battle world. We know that the Russos also loved both Secret Wars. They are a big fan of the 1984 Secret Wars with Battle World, where all the action figures just punch each other.
Yep.
So maybe it's going to be that.
I think it's going to be a hodgepodge. It's going to be both Hickman's and Shooters. So
Yeah,
it'll just be ridiculous. Shooter.
I mean, I want to see that, but why are we missing so many characters that I would want to see in that?
Oh, because they're all going to be in Secret Wars. And maybe most of these guys
Oh.
won't.
Yeah, maybe they get teased for a later movie.
Yeah. Oh, Kelsey Grammer's Beast will also
Kelsey
be in the
Grammer,
movie.
I saw he was on the chair. Yeah.
Yeah,
I saw
yeah.
his chair.
Right?
Yeah, I saw that trailer on the Dorkly podcast.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We talked about that on the Dorkly Show.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just such a weird thing. I didn't necessarily want to turn this into an MCU thing, but it was just kind of like I was admiring the idea behind taking something you already had and then stretching it out over 6 hours and going, that's also marketing.
That's a
Like,
form of marketing.
I guess.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's what we do now. Is that we have the show, but we slow it down to like 1.5 times speed.
Yeah.
And if you record it while that's happening, then you can play it sped up and you can actually understand what we're saying. It's like a secret code.
Or we record ourselves at normal speed.
Oh yeah.
On every page we look at, we hold on for 30 minutes. Give you plenty of time to read it and enjoy it.
Right.
And then we turn the page at normal speed.
I think we
more
should
of our commentary.
We should. That's derivative. They already did that. We need to riff on it. We need to put out our episode backwards.
Yeah, we're gonna memento this.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah. And then you have to like reassemble it in order. You have to have like video editing software in order to get the thing that you actually want.
I mean,
guess you have to
honestly,
download the video, play it
Yep.
backwards.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yep.
replay it.
It's
I mean,
like a
all they have to do is
secret
wait for
code.
one person to do that.
Yeah, and then you watch that one. Yeah.
Yeah. But then we'll just
what
watch
if
that
we
one.
do that? What if we play it backwards and then the next day we release the forward version?
Yeah, that's what we would do. Yeah, you'd place the forward
Yeah.
version after.
Yeah.
But
I mean, what we could-
for the people who were enterprising enough, who were the most hardcore dedicated fans who
Yep.
recorded it and reversed it, they get to find out before everyone else.
Yeah.
Just like the people who watched the 6 hour got to know every name that was in it before they released the 4-minute cut.
Right?
Yeah,
The
pretty
hardcore
cool.
fans.
Really long.
Yeah. That's great. That's just great. Look, I'm going to ask you guys how to save movies and movie theaters. We're going to spend maybe 2 or
those are
3
two
minutes
different
on
things.
it. We know, well, that's true. We're going to save movie theaters. How do we save movie theaters? How do you save them? We're going to spend 2 or 3 minutes on it. We're going to actually solve the problem, and then I want to talk about the actual suggestion from these guys.
And see how different it is.
Oh, it's so different, but also it addresses a larger issue that I think I'd love to delve into, but we'll get into it. But Ben, how would you solve the problem of people not going to the movies anymore? From the movie theater's perspective, like what could they do to make things easier for the movie-going audience to go?
Okay, so for the movie theaters to start making more money, first off, you have to get more people in seats. You have to start reducing prices.
Oh,
well, that's off the table. That's.
I mean, well, no, this is our idea.
I'm trying to make more money. I would make less money if I lowered my ticket prices, Ben.
Well, except
you know how many
I'm
more
just gonna play
people would
devil's
go if it wasn't $20 a pop, but
Right, exactly.
$12 a pop?
Not
Right,
enough
like, okay,
more
so-
to make up for the loss in revenue. That's the calculation they're making.
right, like
I don't know
theater
that that's correct, but
Theater 12 had Snow White in it. It sold 0 seats for $20. But if we made it $12 and we sold 100 seats,
Okay.
suddenly we made $1,200.
okay. So I'm going to take Ben's idea and I'm going to make it work.
Okay.
Maybe he was thinking this. You don't charge the same price for every movie.
Like Marvel
Right?
movies, we're
There's
going to
less
jack up the
demand
price.
because we were in Princess Mononoke and the IMAX same theater. That theater was
Yeah.
full, right?
Yeah.
So now they already don't because they charge less earlier in the day. But you need
Yeah.
to make that more dramatic. But you also need to make it based on the movie because
Right.
less people wanted to see Snow White, and you could have this.
But-
They could tell this with tracking data before the movie comes out. They have a rough idea of how many people are going to see it.
Yeah.
Movie theaters should be like, I got to charge less.
Yes.
I got to
Yeah.
charge less. I can see
I
nobody's going to come
think
see this friggin' movie.
That is a very tricky slope because then you're suddenly changing what impact the movie can have. And now you could be like, well, if you're going to go see this Marvel movie in theaters, I'm charging $50 a seat because I know you're going to
Yeah.
pay it.
I know you're going to pay it.
Well, and like
100%.
that's actually Red Letter
I'm
Media
trying to make it
suggests-
profitable. I'm not
Oh.
trying to make an idea that I think is a good idea. That I would
I'm just trying to
appreciate
help.
happening. I'm just trying to
Yeah.
see what they would, come up with something that would work. I think.
Yeah.
That would not work. That would backfire terribly.
Well,
I don't
they
know.
don't. They wouldn't. I think what it would happen is they wouldn't charge $50 for Avengers because then people wouldn't go. But they might
Right.
charge a couple dollars more because I would
Right.
pay more for a Marvel movie.
Yeah,
Well, one
to
I was
have the
interested in
experience.
seeing.
Exactly.
Sure.
It's like
So
I
what's
won't.
the delineation? Is it based on the production of the studio? Like, who's coming out with the movie? Does every Blumhouse movie now charge $2 more because
What's it
people
based
go crazy
on?
for that shit? Or if
What's
it's
it based on?
A24, am I charging $2 less? If it's an
What's it
international
based
film,
on for a concert? Where who knows what concert tickets are priced as? What's it based on
Yeah.
for a Broadway movie? or a Broadway show, right? It's not based on anything. It's whatever the person who's
The
running the
demand
theater
is.
thinks
Yeah.
will, be pulled in or will work.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it
That's
wouldn't be
why.
based. It wouldn't be a fixed formula, and the
Now, is
movies
this uniform?
distributors
Is this
wouldn't have
every
to pay
theater
over
has
it.
to charge that same price,
No,
or does the
no,
theater
because
differ
theaters
determine it?
already don't have to charge the same price, right? They charge all different prices for movies.
Yeah.
It's up to each individual theater to set the prices. But for some reason in the industry, they within the same theater, this at the same time of day, the price is always the same. They change it different, but they don't change it by title, and I don't know why, because they can change it per theater, they can change it by time of day, but for some reason they've all decided they can't change it by movie within those, segments, and I don't why. That's arbitrary. It's
Yeah.
probably an agreement with the distributors who don't want different movies getting, oh well, we're going to charge way less for this movie because it sucks. Like they don't probably want theaters doing that.
Yeah.
Then that's probably why, but I would say that that would work or that would help.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's interesting. You could also apply similar tactics like Broadway shows or even concerts where 5 minutes before the movie comes out,
Yes.
the price
Discount, drop the
goes down
price. Yeah.
just to fill the seats.
Yep.
Then you got all these people in the waiting, like in the
'Cause-
lobby, just being like, ah!
Because your costs are fixed, right? Like it's
Yeah.
going to cost them whatever it costs to air the movie, regardless of how many people are sitting. So you
Yeah.
might as well heavily discount those seats because at least you're making something. You're not
Yeah.
making $20 a seat if 5 minutes before the movie, but you are making a little bit. Now,
Yeah.
once you start doing that, of course, then people are going to start holding out for that.
Yes.
But if you can fill the seats, not everyone will hold out. Lots of people won't hold out because they want to
They
make
won't
sure they
have
get a
to.
seat,
Exactly.
right? Or they want to make sure they get a good seat.
Right. Yeah. And that's going to
So
be the thing.
the other thing I would do is I would
Yeah.
charge different prices for different seats.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
we're gonna.
yeah,
I mean, I think they are going
that's
to do that.
coming. Yeah.
Oh, that
I
is
feel like that's
almost here, where it's
yeah.
like dead center row H. You are going to have to pay like $3-4 more than like a.
I
front
feel like
row
I've
seat.
even seen that somewhere in the last year. I think
Yeah.
I have.
I've definitely heard them talking about it. Like I have definitely seen that as a discussion.
Yeah.
If not,
Which they
an
honestly should,
implementation.
because it's ridiculous. Like every other place does
Yeah.
that. Baseball stadiums, Broadway theaters, like every place,
Yeah,
and it's
based
just
on your
not
view of
true.
the action, what's going on
Yeah,
is
and
how
it
much
is
you pay for
different.
it.
The
'Cause some
experience
of
is
the seats
different.
are
So
terrible.
yep,
Yeah.
yeah. So I don't understand why they don't already do that. Actually,
Yeah. I'm glad they don't, because
Well-
actually I firmly believe in the idea that like movie theaters are kind of like an equalizer. Like
yeah.
I feel
Well-
like movie theater, like people can't go to a Broadway show. Like most of Americans can't go to a Broadway show.
Well, that's because
And
it's
even-
way more expensive. It's like 10 times
It's
more
far,
expensive.
it's expensive, and it's
Yeah.
crazy. But the movie theater is like you can get an experience, and you get the same experience, and it's like young, old, rich, poor, everyone can go, and they all get the same experience. And like the change that they've made now is you can reserve a seat, right? You can
Yeah.
pick the seat,
But that's the
regardless
thing.
of
Like
the
once
level.
they did that,
Yeah.
now it's like, well, why am I paying the same amount for this trash seat that I like? Once I know which seat I'm going to be in, it no longer makes any sense that all the tickets are the same. Like as soon as they made that change, I think they made it inevitable that they're going to be charging different rates for different seats, because it is just absurd to pay full price for a seat that's like super upfront, right?
Yeah.
Like that's crazy. Why would you ever do that? So those just never get sold. Like it's just
Well, and they should
stupid.
just like take those out. Like just take out the front row. I know that it's like we're wasting money, because I remember vividly going to the movies as a kid when there weren't stadium seating, and that front row was always filled. It was filled at the last second, which is why they should be discounted. But also, it is a miserable experience.
Yeah,
but they do fill those seats somehow.
Somehow.
Now,
yeah.
that's the other thing I would recommend. So if you go to any movie where it's already 10 or 15 minutes into the film, the movie should cost you $5. You're only allowed to sit in the front so that you're not interrupting the view of the people higher up. Paid full price.
Interesting. So yeah, we lower the price not just before the start of the movie, but through the
runtime, at least the first 30 minutes. Now, it sounds like both of you guys want to introduce complicating the experience of going to the movies, because like these are all these rules, right?
But
it's
also
like,
democratizing it, because you're offering an option for people who are willing to give up certain things.
Yeah.
As long as they can fucking afford to pay, right? Like there's definitely families who can't go to the movies because they cost,
too much.
$15, but who are quite accustomed to cutting corners and making sacrifices in their experience in order to be able to at least participate in it. And right now, movie theaters aren't giving you that option except going early, right? Going at noon or whatever, but maybe you can't do that. So why not? Why not have discounted tickets to at least, again, these are seats that are not being sold right now. They're just empty. It's a waste. And if I'm willing to like not be sure which movie I'm going to see, or if I am going to even get a ticket to have a chance to at least be able to afford it, why not have that be an option?
Yeah. I think that what we need is like my suggestion is essentially to create 2 different movie houses, is to proliferate the Alamo Drafthouse experience for people who like movies and hate the movie theater experience as it has become.
Yeah.
And like Ben suggested, I think if you're an AMC, tickets are $12 regardless, and it's up to you. First come, first serve. Fill the place, because what you're gonna do, what you end up doing, is you're gonna end up having caregivers, rows of children. Like, there's just gonna be a madhouse in there. It's gonna be a miserable experience if you lower the barrier to entry in a movie theater experience. That's why it's like, okay, so when I want to see a film or any kind of movie, I'm going to go to the Alamo Drafthouse, which needs to be a lot more available. There needs to be more of them and less far away. But and I'll pay $35 to go see a movie, because and when I go see it, I get food, and also no one is farting or screaming or masturbating.
So what about this? Because you need
you're taking all the fun out of it.
These are all the experiences, by the way, that I have endured while going to see a regular movie.
Yeah, and for some people, you're ruining it because they can't scream during the movie. What you're describing would require like multiple structures in the same area, so that's going to be a barrier for some areas that can't just support 2 physical buildings, because
like in the middle of in
what if
Kokomo, Indiana, you're not going to get like an Alamo Drafthouse,
right? But what if you had
could support, well, not by attendance, but like you have the room for it. Otherwise, like look at Manhattan. Manhattan can't support more buildings.
Yeah, but they have the population.
They have the population.
They have all different types of theaters, and everything's close together. So they do have an element
by where I live, and they do the same thing with food and drinks. It's fantastic.
Yes,
I think they should take your idea, but do it within one theater. So have like a premium experience, like a high-low, like a premium experience, and then like a where it's like restricted. Like there's rules if you want to go to the premium, because they already are breaking it up. They're already doing the IMAX, the like laser. The Dolby theater, right? So like just add a little bit more to that. Just be like, if you're in this theater, you're paying a premium, but also we have these strict rules like they have at Alamo Drafthouse. We serve alcohol, you know, we have all these perks, right, for people who have more income.
And you could lose your A-list status if you dare to violate any of these rules.
Well, you get banned, from the whole theater, right? Because we're not going to let you go to some movies but not others. It's just like you're banned from the building. So like, don't break the rules in these theaters. In these other theaters, it's a normal old school experience. None of the rules. Do whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly. It's just it's very interesting that the suggestions they had from within were so completely tone deaf. And it's like, that's why you're having trouble. Like, you're having trouble because you can't even imagine a scenario where price reduction, or even like, I don't know, introducing ushers again. Just people who go like, hey,
that's a guy. I gotta pay that guy.
I gotta pay that guy. And I'm
I already have too many employees.
Right, but have you noticed that
how about instead of that, I get robots, and I just put AI-driven robots.
Right, but no one's gonna listen to a robot.
No one's
gonna stop vaping in a theater.
But if you put electric things in the seat that shock people when they talk,
there we go. Now you're talking.
There we go.
Yeah. Yeah. Or why not? How about better than shocking? Your seat becomes a hermetically sealed pod. And then you're either like ejected out of the theater like a gumball machine egg, or
just put a spring in the seat like it's a Looney Tunes cartoon. Just
fired right out of the top of the room. Yeah.
All right. Another thing that could boost attendance. Making it more accessible to rent a theater for private use. Whether you're going
they do that already, and they make it available, and it is prohibitively expensive. And
Yeah.
also they have like really annoying rules. Like you can't pick your own movie. You have to pick from the movies that they have the licenses for.
Well, yeah, that's because they get sued if they let you
Yeah.
show movies that you don't have the rights to redistribute. Like you can't.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
No,
then,
they
but
do
then
that
it's
now.
but then that's not what I want, right? Like I want to be able to take a movie from my collection, but there's legal issues with doing that.
Which I've bought.
Yeah. But by the way, I did that. Like I did that at a theater that I guess just didn't care.
Yeah, usually you're not going to get caught, right? Because like the people attending are part of the group. They're not going to call the distributor and say like, "Hey, these people are, probably don't have a license to show this in a public venue," right?
Yeah. No, I mean, like when I remember it was a Clearview back when they existed, and we reserved a theater for a private screening, and they were like, "All right, what movie do you want to bring?" And I was like, "Oh, Back to the Future," and they're like,
But
"Great."
they'll never be able to advertise like a service like that on the website, because that's where Disney will be surfing all the theater sites and seeing like which ones are saying that you can bring your own movie. If I can see, but with a Google search that you're allowing that, my lawyers are already on the way. So like 100%. It has to be like secret, like you have to call.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
but
I think that's a great idea. What they should do is make more movies an option. They should get some kind of group license, right? Like AMC should try to come up with a deal where it's like, we're going to get like the entire, everything that HBO has, we're going to license at a discount because it'll barely ever be used, right? So I'm not going to pay a lot for it. But any AMC theater can show any one of these movies on this list. And it's just a huge ass list.
Like, yes. If I can get a group rate with Netflix, with Hulu, with Disney Plus, if I have access to that library, that's massive.
Right, you can watch all of House of the Dragon at this theater.
Yeah, and the distributors should want to do that, at least for movies, because they want movie theaters to work, right? So the pitch needs to be like Disney, right? Universal. Like, if you give us a decent rate on being able to rebroadcast any of your old collection, like, we will get people in the seats, because what they want is to do this for a reasonable price. It's an old movie. You're making $0 on it if we don't do this. So like, at least make a few dollars on it. Right. And get people used to the idea of going to the theater and enjoying the theater experience. So maybe they'll show up for one of your new movies and pay $20 for a ticket. That's the pitch. I don't know if it would work because it's so obvious they should have already tried that, but
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, but what it made me think about with their horrible suggestion of like adding a pickleball court, because that's definitely the one thing I knew that I was always missing from the theater experience, is that what theaters are accidentally touching on is the eradication of what has been known colloquially as the third space. And they are kind of like the mall, parks, just places where people can gather, where there's no financial barrier to entry, and meet each other, and then procreate and continue the species. Like, it's just third spaces are super important, and they are quickly and like with extreme prejudice being eradicated over the years. And like, theaters like, what if we were a place where you could go and you could like, stop in and get like, a gift for your dog, or like a haircut, or like, and I'm like, you're describing a mall.
Yes.
What you're talking about is a thing.
Mall.
They have them, and we've had them for a long time, and they're called a mall.
And sometimes theaters are even in malls. Yeah.
I vividly remember when they built a theater in my mall and then took it out of the mall. Like, I remember that window of time existed when I was alive.
Yeah, but I also remember before that theater was in the mall, there was a different theater outside the mall. It was smaller.
It was the same theater. They owned they were like, oh, you had to go to the movie. Oh my God. You go to the movie theater outside the mall, and you'd be like, all right, I'm here for the 3:30. They're like, that's not here. That's in the mall.
Yeah.
You have to leave and go in the mall.
Yep.
We got so many people watching movies. We got to have two different facilities.
Locations.
In my hometown, when I was in high school, the Showcase Cinemas was the big theater town. They had two Showcase Cinemas. One of them was like screens 1 through 10, and the other was 11 and 12. And they were like 5-minute drive apart, and that happened, I would go, and I'd like, you're at the wrong one. You got to go to 11 and 12.
Ah,
How is there so much demand that you can have 2 different locations at the same town? It's crazy.
Out behind my town, the Meadtown Theater. There was a theater in the strip mall. It wasn't even a mall. It was a block of stores and a movie theater. And in the parking lot was a smaller theater with one screen.
Interesting. Weird.
Clearly it was like a 1 hour photo thing or something like that, like whatever it used to be. And they were like, and they bought it and they turned it into a movie theater, and it sucked. The projector always broke. There was always a leak. You knew if your movie was in the Meadtown Theater, it probably was a bomb. Like it was probably a worst performing movie or a cartoon.
Another thing that would make sense to get more people in theaters that would allow you access to a larger library is that the licensing cost should start dropping based on the age of the movie. If we're talking, this is a movie that's 10 years old, well, now it's like a third of the cost. 20 years old, now it's like a quarter of the cost that it was to actually get the license for it. And if it's like 40 years or plus, you got to pay like 5% of the licensing fee to show it now.
Yeah, fair. I think it already works like that. I do believe that, like, I think it's probably different by different distributors, but like, I don't think there's any fixed rules about how the license works, right? It's just like, well, this title, it's more than age. It's like, well, Titanic is going to cost you a lot more because everyone wants to see Titanic, even though it's really old, right? Like,
that's the problem.
Casablanca is going to cost more than other like old movies that nobody's heard of,
Right? Like, okay, no problem. I'll exclusively get movies from 30 years ago. That means I'm going to get like Terminator 2, Jurassic Park, all the Star Wars movies. Like, the problem with the movie theater, and that's the other problem with the movie theater experience. The theater can only do so much. If your movies blow, no one's going to want to go see them big.
Well, like, the problem with everyone, full price.
Hell no. Yeah. Like, I have caught Snow White if it was half price? Still no. But
no, probably not.
There are other movies.
Your time has value too. But yeah, there are some where it's like, well, I'm kind of interested, but not $20 interested.
And that's how Hollywood became a titan, is because A, there were fewer competition for movies available to the regular movie-going audience. B, it was cheaper. And so it was so cheap that you could go, hey, let's go catch that movie. I heard, I think that's how the movie star was created, where it's like, I know nothing about that movie, but I know Cary Grant is in it and I like him. As opposed to now where it's like, well, what's it about? Well, tell me every single plot point so that I can steel myself against any surprises. Like, I need to know everything about the movie, and whether someone's in it or not is irrelevant. Just look at the Marvel world, where it's like, oh man, Chris Hemsworth's in this one. Who cares?
Yeah, that effect still exists, but it's like really small. There's a very small number. It's a small effect, and there's hardly any actors that it actually applies to. But there are,
and they're all aging out. It's not like, oh man, everyone went to go see Eternals because Harry Styles was in the post-credits scene. Like, it's all like, that they. Why would you William Hurt died, so we needed to recast General Thunderbolt Ross, but you can't make Hulk movies, so really there's no reason to have Ross in your movies anymore. You could just kill the character off, but no, let's recast him with an actor who's older than William Hurt was when he died. Normally you would never do that, but we did it because it was Harrison Ford, because Marvel was like, well, normally Marvel was the brand and that's what got people to come, but we made a couple of stinkers, so what are we going to do? How about we get the movie star and put him in the movie? And it was like, but
that was stupid though, because Harrison Ford hasn't been selling movie tickets for like 20 years.
If that worked, then you might have made more money for Indiana Jones 5, which cost $350 million. It's $250 million more than you should spend. Yeah, it's not bad.
It's
just not good.
It's not like Crystal Skull. It's not like that.
It's not embarrassing.
An abomination. Yeah.
And what's frustrating
it's just kind of like, I wish you'd done that instead of that, but I'm still having fun. Like, that's
it's also a drag.
Yeah.
Crystal Skull, though, the first 30 minutes, I'm like, I'll watch that again.
Yes.
And it's
Yeah.
just because Spielberg is such a good filmmaker.
Yeah.
Like even the fridge thing is still kind of fun. It's
Yeah.
stupid, but it's fun.
Yeah.
But once we get to the camp, which is just a soundstage, just a bunch of
Mhm.
garbage. Just once Shia takes over, it's like, oh.
Yeah.
You know what was a really great Indiana Jones movie? Tintin.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
The Adventures of
Tintin was
Tintin was
awesome.
amazing.
Yeah, that was a really good movie.
I don't think that movie did very well because we didn't
I
get
don't
any
think
more of
so.
those.
Right,
Yeah,
but
I
like,
loved it.
it was good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was great. I loved that movie. Yeah,
I think
I
everyone
wish
loved
there
that
were more
movie
of
who
them.
saw it. I believe it was
Yeah.
like glowing reviews. It was like
Yeah.
good Rotten Tomato score. I think. I
Yeah,
don't know. I think it just looked old fashioned, and so people were just like, nah.
And it had that uncanny valley thing where it's like it's live
Mhm.
action, but not.
Yeah.
People were comparing it to Polar
I think they
Express.
should have just done a straight up cartoon
Either that or a straight up live action
or that. Yeah.
because you could get away with either.
Well,
Actually,
it's
yeah.
kind of like a super fantastical world. It's like a cartoony world.
Yeah.
Like some of the action is like a little ridiculous for live action.
Fair.
So
I
I
mean,
think that's why they
like
went the
the
direction they
style
did.
that it had because they kept the proportions of the characters like pretty accurate to what they looked like in the cartoon.
Yeah, they were like
Absolutely, yeah.
realified versions of the cartoon.
Yeah.
All right,
yeah.
so
which
how
was
about would
awkward.
you have liked it better had it been like more claymation, similar to like Coraline?
I don't need to change it. I liked it. I'm talking about what people who didn't go see it would have preferred.
Yeah,
I'm
I
happy
think
with how it was.
I think
own
a
that.
straight up cartoon, like in the style of the Tintin cartoon, I think
Yeah.
might have done better because people would have been like, "Oh, I'll take my kids to that." Whereas like this was like, I don't know, it looks kind of
It's like,
weird.
what is this? Yeah. That's funny. I actually saw Peter Jackson talking the other day about how he caught King Kong, his King Kong, on TV, and he watched it, and he was like, "This is too long." He was like, "Okay, so."
Yeah, Peter, it is.
It is too long. He was like, he was under the gun. Apparently, he was just like, he was so pushed to finish it that he couldn't be, diplomatic with himself. He couldn't be realistic about like what cut he should be. So he was like, well, there's an anniversary coming up, Universal. Like, by the way, if you ever want, I'll recut it. Like, I'll recut King Kong and make it like a better movie. And they're like, no.
Nobody asked for that, man.
Nobody wants your King Kong again, and nobody wants to pay for less of your movie.
Yeah. Now that said,
I would
it
watch
would be
it.
better. Yeah, I would watch it because there was a great movie in there. There was like a really, really good King Kong movie within that movie, but I will never watch it again because it's so long. Yeah,
it is so long. I've seen it 3 times.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, so twice in the theater and then once on home video. I actually saw that movie a lot. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's just, but you can skip all of Skull Island, which is why he made it.
Yeah.
You
That's another one I didn't see.
Yeah.
Oh, the Skull Island
It's good. You
one?
should watch it.
I didn't see any of the King Kong movie.
The Kong movies, yeah.
I saw
the Peter Jackson one is good.
I saw Kong Skull Island.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that one.
That was good. That was a good movie. But yeah, the Peter Jackson one is good. It's good. It's just too much. It's just
Basically,
you're just like,
you could. I mean, if you want to watch it, I would say, just when they get to Skull Island, just go like, I think I know what happens in here. Yep. Because it's
they're leaving.
A lot. Oh, they're leaving.
Sweet.
Yeah. I mean, by the way, there are spectacular action sequences in that whole Skull Island thing. It's just like, but you're making a different movie. There's another movie in here, and I'm like, there's no time for this.
He should have just made it a two-parter.
That's the thing is, it's hard sometimes to sit in the theater for
4 hours. It's true. Yeah, no, it's right.
But I'll do it for Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah.
But now every movie thinks it needs to be 2.5 hours long, and I think that's another reason why movies are dying, is because people are just like, that's a lot. Yeah, that's a big commitment.
Yeah, I agree. So, final question from patreon.com/ComicPop. Jason Hiddleston asked, if ComicPop had an unlimited budget and resources, what would you want to do with the channel that's big?
Big.
Yeah, what is this is more of a question for Sal.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, but I'm curious if you guys had any input on it. I mean, like, but it is in its own way.
Yeah. So, if we had unlimited budget, that means that we would not have to work anymore, and Ethan and I could make ComicPop full time.
Yeah, I guess we'd make new shows.
If that were the case, I would say that we would probably each have our own show that we would run.
Yeah.
Mm.
If I was doing it full time, I would come up with a show.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I've had ideas for shows that would require full time investment. So yeah,
Same.
I would do that.
Oh yeah. No. I
And
mean,
I'm not telling them here. You'll have to pay us more. Not you.
That's right.
Sal.
You'll have to create that unlimited
The
budget, and then
audience.
you'll see. But yeah, I mean, I've had thoughts about like making a podcast network that is like, I mean, there's no other term for it. Like, I guess a YouTube network, which we kind of have because we have Plays and Returns and Prime.
Yeah.
And, you know, but like it would be a massive talent scoop. Like there'd be all these people that you'd never seen before that would be doing different things. But as far as like your understanding of Comic Pop as it is now, what it would look like, you would probably not see much of a difference right away. There'd be a couple things we would do right off the bat. The first of which is we would buy a space and it would be heavily renovated. And that space would be just a conducive to the work space that we have total autonomy and control over. That's something that I would definitely do. And it would but you would never know the difference because Back Issues as a set doesn't need, it's not like the Wayne's World, like primetime TV show version where it's just Wayne's basement, but with all this shit. It's just, it would just look exactly the same.
But you might be able, the space would have more flexibility. So you might get from that more innovation. Like you'd be able to try more stuff. Because if you had like a full overhead lighting rig, then you could be like, oh, I can do this, I can do that. I can, like Back Issues works because so much time went into like building it to look exactly like that. And what we would do is just replicate that.
Yeah.
But if you want to do other stuff, that becomes much more possible in a better
Absolutely.
space.
Oh no, you'd see. I mean, like we would definitely have like, I've always wanted to have like a comic book store set.
And different camera angles and like
more cameras. Well, you'd hire an editor, I assume.
And that's the thing. And that's really at the heart of it. Like you'd get more shows out of me because I wouldn't have to make every single show. Like I could be on every show, but I wouldn't have to then be like, all right, that's a wrap. Have a fun time, everybody. Now I got to take the show and then I got to make it.
And you could do 3 cameras in every show and just pay an editor to just go through all that footage and cut it all together.
Yeah, it'd be that. So the
shows
shows would
actually
improve
from that alone.
Yes, you'd have a benchmark,
more complex and more interesting and dynamic.
It's true.
Oh,
yeah,
and
every
having
show would
audio
look
mixer on hand.
Audio, the audio could improve a bit. Yeah.
Yep. But it would just be quality would go up, production would go up. You'd see a lot more shows, but like not right away because I wouldn't also want to like just throw it all at the wall. It'd be like, okay, we have the space. Let's build out. Like let's build in, people to work for the channel, like not just in talent, but also in editing, but also like the store would expand. We'd have more merchandise. There'd be more, like we'd have our own shipping department. Like there'd be a whole thing. It'd be huge. The thing that people naturally do with their own innate success, I would replicate with an angel investor. But it would just be very different.
Yeah, well, you'd be able to basically risk doing things where you would have to take out like a loan.
Yeah.
And like hope that the changes result in enough revenue to like pay back the loan. Like that's how you'd have to do it now. That's how businesses normally expand. But it's just stuff that's like so high risk and like so unlikely to actually increase our subscribers substantially that you can't justify it right now.
Oh, and I have internal data that supports like if we grew, the money wouldn't necessarily increase. And even then, like we're talking an investment of over $1 million.
Yeah.
For the first year. And it's not like if we put in $1 million, ComicPop would make $2 million. Like that ain't the thing.
No, it takes time.
No, it does. And even then, there's no guarantee it would return. It would just be spent, and it would make dope shit, but it would also be very expensive. But we'd have more success than if I decided to become a comic book publisher. Or a comic book store.
Where there's no amount of money you could spend to improve it at all.
That in any way. That would be another thing I would like to try. We'd be like a comic book store, but it would all be online, and it would just be like you'd buy your books through us instead of like,
So you want to get all the distributors to send you books for free.
Well, they wouldn't send it for free. I'd have to like, establish myself as an LLC. It'd be a whole thing. And even then, again, as I said, like, I could invest in becoming a comic book store. What a capital idea that would be. That would make me just so rich. But I think if it was smart and compacted, if it was like we only sell big two and like, you know, like 2 indie books, and it's all through like a subscription service, and there's no brick and mortar, like we would make our money back and hopefully turn a profit. But again, it's something where it's like I've thought about it, but I've never executed it because there's no version of my current intake of cash that could justify it. It would again be a loan, and the bank manager would be like, "Get the fuck out of here!"
Yeah, that'd be a tough sell.
Are you insane? Like, are
Yeah.
you sure you don't want to just sell pastries or something? That at least people want that.
How have you thought about
I
opening
mean,
a
if you sold
restaurant?
like
Those have a
Pokemon
lower
cards,
failure
Magic the
rate than what you're
Gathering,
talking
maybe they
about.
would turn something.
Hmm?
Is that if you sold like Pokemon cards or like Magic the Gathering cards?
Yes.
Well, that's how
That would
comic
work.
book stores make their money. Is they sell like, you know, Pokemon cards and Magic the Gathering and Funko Pops
Yeah,
and
they
stuff
sell
like
shit they don't care about
that. Yeah,
in order
yeah,
to
that's right.
subsidize the thing they want to do.
Yup.
Well, it's to
But,
get people in the store.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
right.
they want to sell
And
comic books, and so they have to sell all this other crap that actually makes money in order to
can you
sell
imagine if that
books.
was the case for any other business? It's
I
like,
guarantee it's the case for at least a few other businesses.
Oh,
Hey,
sure,
welcome to my
yeah.
hardware store. The fries are over in the corner, so if you want to grab a shake, you can do that. But you know, while you're here, feel free to walk around, and if you need a hammer, we have those too.
yeah, because I know a lot about it. Like I'm really enthusiastic about hardware, so you might like
I'm
that.
just here
I'm
for
gonna-
lunch.
Okay,
Fine.
I'll just
Well,
I'll,
there
okay.
there's an entire I think there's an argument to be made that like every fast food restaurant is selling soda in order to be able to make hamburgers.
Yes,
Because
yes,
because soda costs, I don't know,
pennies.
pennies for them to on their side, but it costs you several dollars. You know,
Yes.
whereas like on every other thing they're selling, it's much closer to like they're barely breaking even.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
yeah.
it's same with movie theaters. Movie theaters are like
Yeah,
we are
exactly.
popcorn merchants. We're
Yeah, we sell
we're soda
popcorn so
slingers.
that we can air movies. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, hey, AMC, you coming up with ideas like racquetball courts? How about just sell more popcorn?
They're,
I don't know.
they're already charging an arm and a leg for that friggin' popcorn, and people buy it. People will pay it.
That's right.
It's true.
And maybe we could
You
have a
blood-sucking
coupon
lawyer.
day or something.
Or something, you know. Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
you know, by the way, the pickleball thing, I just want to just real quick, you know why they made that suggestion? Because
why?
they're trying to figure out because they have too many screens. They're trying to figure out what to do with their existing space. Because they're like, I already have this building, but
Right.
I only need half as many screens as I currently have because the rest of them are barely used. So
Yeah.
what can I do with it? How can I monetize this physical huge space that I have in a way that will actually make me money? I guess you could put like a tennis court. People don't want tennis courts. Pickleball. Everyone loves pickleball. Well, you need a big ass space for it. I got a big ass space. Perfect. That's why.
That's nuts. I mean, you know, I think it's more like
That's like a first idea.
You're in like you're not in like the movie business. You're in like the
Yeah,
like the land business. Like you own a
that's
big
like McDonald's.
building.
McDonald's
Exactly
is not
like
in
McDonald's.
the hamburger business. They're in the like real estate business.
Exactly. It's like, no, what you want to do, like I picture a movie house being almost like the gym I had in college, where it's like this big center with big, beautiful doors. You walk in and there's like, you know, a weight room and there's like a pickleball court over here. And then if you go further back, there's a movie theater in there. I you could see 2 movies per day. I mean, but again, getting it back to the third space, maybe that's what it is. Maybe movie theaters are like, okay, you know, it's not feasible to always be in a movie in a mall.
Mhm.
Become a small mall.
Yeah,
A mini
what
mall,
about
if
a
you
little
will.
bit? Yeah, a little mall because malls are dead. But what about an activity-focused mall, not a shopping mall?
No.
An activity mall.
Yes, like
We have
a
mini golf
center.
and pickleball.
Yeah.
And
Like I can imagine.
what if we made it a subscription service? Maybe you subscribe to the mall. It's like the Y. You pay a monthly fee and you can go in and do whatever you want.
That's just my old
You
gym.
get one free movie a month,
Yeah.
and the rest of your tickets are reduced cost.
Literally,
Yeah,
my
there you
old
go.
gym had a screening room with bikes in it, like with exercise.
Yeah,
bikes
mine
in
did
it.
too. Yeah. They got rid of it, but
Yeah. Well, they got rid
did
of
have
COVID, killed that.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, get into a small space and
There you go,
sweat
Jim.
and breathe.
Introduce it into existing movie theaters.
That's
Turn
actually
one of the theaters into a gym movie theater with bikes.
that's a great idea.
Bikes, treadmills, stairmasters, all of
Treadmills,
it.
everything. Yep.
Screw the pickleball. Just make a couple of screens where it's like
Yeah,
the
and they
spin
actually
room.
have decent sound and shit. So unlike the shitty one in your gym, it's
Yeah.
actually like a good experience.
Yeah, no, I think there's something there. Yeah.
But it's dark in there. It's hard to exercise in the
Yeah.
dark where you can't see much.
You
That
can turn on
could
the
be a
lights a little bit.
lawsuit.
You're sitting and you pedal.
Yeah, you don't put weight machines
No.
or
just
free
bikes.
weights. Definitely not. Just
Yeah.
safe things.
It's bikes,
And you
ellipticals, and treadmills. That's
could
it.
adjust the lighting where you could like I don't know, try to like have like soft lighting around so you can see
Yeah,
stuff,
like
but
on the
that doesn't like
floor.
go up into the air and
Yeah.
obscure the view. I don't know.
Right.
There's got to be a way.
You know, these are just the ideas. You paid us to consult for you. You guys are thinking of to implement it.
Yeah,
But,
I guess that would work with less stadium seating.
Oh yeah, you got that whole thing. There is no more stadium seating. It's just a big empty box.
Yeah, you take out all the stuff that the seats are on, all that
Yeah.
scaffolding and infrastructure. Yeah,
Exactly.
But you
Oh,
can
yeah,
make
I
got a
the
gym with a really
significantly
high ceiling.
smaller. Like you
With
could
a really high ceiling.
reduce it by a third or to a third of the size, and it would still like hold enough people to exercise in there.
You
Yeah.
take the seats out, but you keep the scaffolding. So you just make them rows of exercise equipment.
There's
Yeah.
not enough room on each scaffold for that. You have to change
Yeah, they'd have
the
to
You have to remove
they'd
a
have to
couple
take-
of like
yeah, like instead of a whole bunch of little tiers, there's just a few
it's like
big
4
tiers.
really big tiers. Yeah.
And- yeah.
which is actually better because then you're getting less view interruption in front of you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want
Higher than the
someone
person in
on
front
the
of you.
bike in front of you to be obstructing you. So yeah, you'd
Yeah.
probably need like 3 to 4 like terraces of machines with a staircase going up either side.
Oh. Yeah, I think we got something here. That's not bad. That's an
Yeah.
idea.
There should
And-
also be more aquatic theaters. I want to watch Jaws in a lake.
In a pool. There are people who do that already.
Right, but the trouble is that the water is cold and it's terrible. But if it's in a pool that I can heat, then I'm more comfortable in there.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fucking genius. I love that. You
What?
make it like tropical themed, and you have a bar at one side. They're selling
Yeah.
drinks, a swim up bar.
I'm actually shocked Disney hasn't done this. Like, I would be very surprised if they hadn't already done this, where it's like, no, it's the jungle experience, and we just show
Right.
movies all day. That sounds like a cruise.
yeah,
Let me look this up.
pool at movie theater.
And like,
The AI says pool at a movie theater refers to a dive-in movie experience where people watch a movie
What?
while floating in a pool or on the pool deck. Let's see. Dive-in movie theaters. Okay, these are ideas to convert your swimming pool into a dive-in movie theater. They're
Oh,
not
okay.
professional.
Yeah.
Now, but here's one: swim-in theater evening event at a campground. It's outdoors.
Here's a Reddit thread from r/Disney World. Why doesn't Disney World have a cinema where you can watch an actual Disney movie in the pool?
There you go. Right?
I mean, here's
Yeah.
the problem that everyone thinks of is like, oh, because water and electronics are bad.
Well, but it's all behind
But
the
it's
thing.
insulated and
Yeah.
it's safe. The screen
Yeah.
is just what's being projected on. All your electronics are further away.
Yeah.
You know what? We do need more swim up bars, though. That is something that is
100%.
necessary.
Oh, yeah.
I remember I was one time, it was in like, it might have been Aruba or the Bahamas, but I was like, when I found that out, I'm like, oh my god. And of course, I was like a 13-year-old, and it was like, and they're like, hi, welcome to international waters. Here's your very alcoholic beverage. I'm like, all right.
One more
That's
pina
funny.
colada, please.
Yeah, I was like, pina coladas are my beverage now. That is what I'm having. My parents are like, how many of those did you have? I'm like, it doesn't matter. It was charged to the room. So,
We paid for the room, though.
oh yeah, I guess that would make sense.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, not me. I'm a stupid kid. So there you have it, everybody. We want to thank you so much for hanging out with us. Of course, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and click the bell for notifications so you know when we go live and when the show comes out. Of course, you can check out the show that we make where we sit on a couch called Back Issues. A lot of fun, good show over on youtube.com/ComicPop. Gentlemen, what's going on in your lives you want to let the audience know about?
is
The
this the part-
allergies are coming out.
This is where you.
It sucks.
This is where we plug something.
Yeah. You plug your stuff.
Writing season is coming out, so like, you know.
Oh
yeah.
Start saying. I was gonna say start like DMing pictures of bikes, but like I don't want that.
I'm gonna plug. Cross country trips. I'm planning a trip to Colorado right now for the summer, and it's really fun. It's gonna be fun to do, and it's gonna be fun. It's fun to plan it. So yeah, and you get outside, you know, enjoy the nice weather. Maybe do some camping. You know, it's good, clean fun.
That's fair.
You should
You
try
say
it.
Colorado, and
Yeah.
I say Colorado.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. What do they
Just
say
something I
there?
noticed. Not that I care.
Yeah, I don't know what they say there, and I've been there a few times. They don't talk about the place they're in normally. But hey, listen, if you have a question, you can always submit one on the new thread that we created over on patreon.com/comicpop. Just join up and then see the thread. It says next questions for the next episode of this untitled show that we make here on this channel. And we
You
look
had
forward
so
to
many
trying it out on the
ideas
next one.
too.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. I even have a new one, but I'm going to try it out on these gentlemen off mic, and we'll see if it is the name by the next episode. So,
Yeah, tune in next time.
Yeah, that's right. Incentive.
That's the name that you were going to pitch, right? Tune in
Next time. Yeah.
No, tune
Please
in
watch
this
the show.
time.
Please watch. That's what we should call it. Please watch.
Please watch. Just in a cartoon character just throwing up their hands.
Please watch.
Bye, everybody.